My video for July the 14th, 2019 is video number 3146. The title is The Battle Within Us Still Rages. Francis J. Meehan said, quote, "Men are at war with each other because each man is at war with himself," end quote. For your information, he was a U.S. ambassador to East Germany. As I reflect on what he said, I have to ask myself why. I think I know at least part of the answer. So many things in our world and our personal experience are deceptive. One of the tragedies is that many of us were told from our youngest years that we were sinners. I'm sorry, but none of us were born sinners. Every baby comes into the world innocent, past lives notwithstanding. Each life is a fresh start, but when we are told we are defective, when our natural talents, gifts, and abilities are not nurtured, we so easily become distorted. Our very lives become a battleground, and the world around us validates the battles. It's not the battle of the sexes or genders, or racial heritage, or nationalities, or even religion. It's a battle based on one question: who am I? Even those of us who thought we knew, can often find ourselves with an identity crisis as we get older. At least that is true for me. What about you? Are you immune from the battle, or have you simply become self-deluded? Francis Meehan, and there's a store right down the street from me called Meehan's, and it's a office supply store, basically. He was born on Valentine's Day, the same day as my son was born, but way back in 1924. He was born in East Orange, New Jersey. So he's also a Jerseyite like me, grew up there. But his education, he graduated from the University of Glasgow. I guess that's in Scotland, I would assume, and also Harvard. And of course, that's in the United States. And he last served under President Ronald Reagan, again as U.S. ambassador. The quotation is an interesting quotation. And I appreciate getting quotations like this from one of the pages that I subscribe to, Information Clearinghouse, because so many of the quotes I could go off and make videos about. I don't do it on all of them, of course. And even this time, I mean, there were several subjects that I thought, well, that would make a good subject. And I'm waiting now most of the time to record my videos later in the day, although that's not always 100% true. I'm not trying to get them done first thing in the morning or after I post my newest video each day. But I wrestle with these things, and I have been, really, really introspective as I look at things that I come across, like, for example, the idea that everybody goes to the same place, regardless of how we've lived our lives. I mean, that really bothered me. And yet I don't like to be a contrarian. I don't like to go into public debates and debate issues and say, but you're wrong, you're wrong. I mean, I might do that on a one-to-one basis, but I'm certainly not going to do it in a group, as some of my friends have done in previous times. So I mean, somebody just dropped something in the apartment above me. Anyway, maybe you didn't hear it, but I did. I wrestle with these things because I try to make sense, and I am still trying to make sense of my life. I felt since I was a little kid, teenager at least, that I was here on a mission to help bring the kingdom of heaven to earth, not to die and go somewhere else. If the whole point of living is to die and go to someplace else, then life to me is an insanity. I mean, it just doesn't It doesn't make any sense. And reincarnation makes sense in the sense that I do believe that each of us have multiple opportunities to come and deal with the issues of being human, uh, and the conditions that we find ourselves in as humans, with the parents that we're born to and the countries that we're born in, and the environmental conditions. Every one of us has to face different challenges, and not everyone, like me, was told that they were a sinner, but I was. I mean, we were born in sin and shapen in iniquity, and we even had the Bible verses to substantiate that claim. You know, we were born sinners. No, we weren't. Every baby, as I said, is born innocent with a clean slate, regardless of past lives, regardless of whether reincarnation is going to affect a future life. If we don't remember it, it can't have significance. What really does have significance is what our parents tell us, what we learn in school, what happens in our interactions with our peers as little kids growing up, and of course all the way through our adult life. It's all interactions with other people, and very few of us are isolated and live alone. Almost all of us have multiple interactions with people of varying opinions, and the perspectives are each an individual thing. No two of us, even with identical twins, have the exact same experience, unless the identical twins are somehow connected physically and have to have the same experience, because everywhere one goes, the other goes too. But that's not the situation for most of us, even identical twins. So I wrestle with the idea of, why am I here? What am I supposed to be learning? And do I have a mission? Is there a purpose to my life? Or have I been deluded on that, as well as many other things that I was deluded on? I mean, I've spoken many times about not being able to see that the Bible talked about a God that couldn't have possibly been God. It was a great deception. And of course, that deception is what creates all of the battles, because from that point on, when our DNA was messed with, and when we were no longer able to tap into our natural talents, gifts, and abilities, we became limited. And that limited perception is what creates the inability to not recognize our greater gifts, not recognize how we are connected to the whole of life. And because we don't feel connected, because we feel isolated, we are trying and at war, working toward trying to find a reconnection, trying to find a way that we can feel loved. And it's challenging when we are deceived to even love ourselves. And that's why the battle keeps raging on and on and on. Because truth is, most of us can't love ourselves because we don't know who we are. Even those that seem to think they know. I think many times it's just another delusion. Can I prove that? No, I can only examine what happens to me and what goes through my mind and my consciousness as I sit in meditation so many times, just reflecting on what's going on and what thoughts are coming up, what feelings are manifesting. Yes, I think we all need to be introspective, but at the same time, somehow we need to be brought to a foundation where we can love ourselves, because until we can love ourselves, we can't really love one another. Thank you, folks, for listening, and namaste.